Morning. Welcome to Thinking is Contagious. Would ask that listen in. Hope you've been listening to the prior broadcasts, and hopefully it's something that inspires you to get involved and to forward your message, your beliefs, your thoughts based on fact, based on research, and we hope that we promote that a little bit with this channel. If you agree, we'd love to have you on board and hit that subscribe button. Help us out. Help us get the message forward, going forward. I'm going to pat ourselves on the back a little bit. I was listening to some of the news programs this Sunday morning, and there's a few things that we really were in the lead, brought to the forefront before I've heard anyone, and I keep myself pretty up to date on the news. Uh, we we mentioned a week ago the Democrats and their ability to look the other way on the history of the Democrats as far as slavery is concerned, as far as civil rights is concerned. And this week, Representative Lou Gohmert has brought forth legislation where he's facetiously, just for the impact, obviously there's no real intent, but just to bring a spotlight onto the very issue that we started talking about over a week ago. He brought forth legislation to abolish the Democratic Party, and that is based on their involvement, support of racism, being anti-civil liberties, civil rights, being the party of the Ku Klux Klan, being a party of divisiveness, a party of anti-segregation. 1924 Democratic Convention, known as the Klan Bake, the 1948 Dixiecrats, the various oppositions to the civil rights movements in the 60s in the South, led by the Dixiecrats. We are looking to not relive that past, not keep rehashing that past, but in that the Democrats are now, even this week, there's been a big push on one of the, I believe it's the Congress, for the conversation of repatriations, the conversation of somehow saddling the American taxpayer with obligations for something that they had no involvement with. There's no one here today that had direct involvement with any of this. Well, then let's hold the Democratic Party accountable. Let's make sure that we understand that they are the party of anti-civil rights. Let's make sure that when Joe Biden comes out this last week, and says that Donald Trump is America's first racist president, well, that in itself should really, anyone who's thinking about voting for Biden, you should see the phoniness of this man right through that statement. If Donald Trump is the first racist president, then where do the Democrats and Joe Biden come off in saying how systemic racism has long plagued this country? If you've never had a racist president before, then you would not have had leadership that would have permitted racism to continue. The first 12 presidents in the history of this country, under the first 12 presidents, the slavery was rampant, not rampant, but slavery was permitted in this country. So there was 12 presidents that allowed slavery. Joe Biden is clueless, and he thinks that you're clueless. And he's willing, and the Democrats and Pelosi, especially Pelosi and Biden, and I think they're the ones that have the most issue as far as their mental capacities are concerned. They're willing to say anything to you because they really seriously believe that either A, you won't research it or look it up, or B, that you will follow them blindly and believe everything they say. Back again to the famous tell a lie, tell a big lie, repeat it often, and eventually people will believe it. It will become the basis. It will become a platform from which to bring forth an agenda, because that first lie that cements the entire underpinning, the undermining of the system is being accepted. And that is the indoctrination that's happening in this country. The 1619 Project that is becoming now, gaining so much traction to rewrite the history books about this country. And all this is an attempt to further divide America. It is not an attempt to teach history. It's an attempt to further divide America. And the collateral damage that comes with it, there was a, Dr. Carol Swain was on television this morning, and she is the head of the Black Votes for Trump. And she spoke to this education system, getting the kids back to school, the 1619 Project. And she spoke to all this and called our education system at this point an indoctrination program. And that's what it is. Public education is indoctrination. The 1619 Project is a perfect example of that indoctrination. And to quote her, she's an African American woman, and to quote her, she said, the public school system is teaching our kids that teaching blacks to hate whites, teaching white kids to hate themselves, teaching them white guilt. This is a manipulation, the same manipulation that happened in Cuba, the same manipulation that happened in Venezuela, the same manipulation that has happened in many, many countries that have attempted to implement a new system. The implosion of capitalism is the key here, is the mandate, is the agenda. And with that, the path to that mandate is to a failure, overburden the system to a point of failure. They overburden the system with the racial tensions. They overburden the system with the financial tensions that they're creating by giving away and printing money. And the aim here, make no mistake about it, the aim of dividing this country racially, via gender, via socioeconomics, the aim of dividing this country via education, the aim of dividing this country via the perceived lack of opportunity, all that aim is to implode the capitalist system. That's the aim. They artificially aim to implode it. They will then tell people that the reason that the problems exist is because of capitalism. No, it's not. This is a manipulated capitalist system directed towards an objective, which is the implosion. And then when you can blame, falsely, inaccurately, blame capitalism for the problem when it's not. If capitalism were allowed to function on its own, this would not be happening. If you then take capitalism and blame it for the problems, it allows you the opportunity to bring in that new system. And that new system, as is evident by the new wave of left-leaning Democrats, is socialism. Socialism is not what built this country. Socialism is not why people risk life and limb to get to this country. No, it's not because of that, because socialism is in many other places. It's not why. People cross the Florida Straits in an inner tube. People cross the United States and Mexico, or crossed Mexican border at risk of life and limb. People smuggle themselves into this country from all over the world, not seeking socialism, seeking opportunity, which they tell you doesn't exist, seeking capitalism, which they tell you is bad. Well, if all these things are so bad, why do people risk their lives to get away from that and come to what we have? People, open your eyes. Open your eyes. Send the message. Open your eyes, study the situation, make your decisions. That is critical. That is key at this point. Um, Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz has, and again, this is something I got to pat ourselves on the back because we talked about this in probably our first or second broadcast. Ted Cruz has proposed legislation to allow citizens to sue the municipality where a politician has wrongfully denied them protections. So in all these cities where there's looting and pillaging going on, he has proposed legislation for triple damages, allowing citizens to go out and sue the mayors, sue the municipality when they have been wrongfully, and that's the key, wrongfully denied their protections as an American citizen. Uh, this is something that needs to be looked at in light of the looting and pillaging and burning of public property, which evolved and has morphed into the attacks, assaults, and in unfortunately far too many cases, shootings and murders of people, innocent people, of peaceful protesters. So the majority of these protesters that are out there, they're not involved in this. 99% are not involved in this. They are protesting and bringing forth their thoughts, which they're more than entitled to in this country. But the faction that is trying again to divide this country and blame it on the infrastructure of America's political and economic systems is who's responsible for the anarchy that they're causing, because they know they can't defeat capitalism. They know they can't defeat democracy, the republic that this country is. They can't defeat it on its own merit because it's the best system in the world. So they've got to artificially destroy it and blame the system. And that is exactly where we're at with that. I want to talk a little bit about, and superficially really, but Lindsey Graham has been working feverishly to declassify some of this documentation regarding the FBI and Donald Trump and the Trump administration. And the Steele dossier, a lot broke over this week. And I think next week you're going to see with these hearings that it's quite evident that Comey, the FBI, lied to the FISA courts, lied to Congress, was very well and aware that there was absolutely no credence or reality behind the Steele dossier. The memos have come out. It's irrefutable that this was an attempt to undermine the Trump administration, and this came from the top. Obama, Biden, I'm sorry, they knew. They may not have been leading traffic, but they knew what was going on. Comey was the linchpin. Comey was the fool that was willing to sacrifice his career, his reputation, and put the FBI's reputation on the line. So all these things put together, I think this week you're going to see some amazing testimony, and I think indictments are going to come out of this. And if I was Joe Biden, I would be nervous. And if I was Barack Obama, I would be nervous. Have a good day. Have a good week. We'll talk Monday. Thank you.